Welcome to the REI Foundation Podcast, where we cover all the steps and strategies to make your real estate dreams a reality. Now your hosts, Jason and Peely.
Hi, everyone, and welcome again to the Real Estate Investing Foundation Podcast with Jason and Peely. This is Foundation Inspection Friday, and we have a very, very awesome, special, important, amazing, boom guest. Justin Williams. Welcome, Justin.
Yeah, what's up, guys? This is awesome. I'm excited.
Doing great. So this is Justin's third time on the podcast,
Yes.
and we've had the luxury of having Justin on, Justin and his wife Tara on,
Yes.
and now we have Justin back. And this is actually the first time we actually had a guest on Foundation Inspection Friday, but for due cause, because Justin's going to come here, really help us to just set up mindset one within personal growth and business development. And if you want a recap, we can go back there. We'll put in the show notes Justin's prior episodes, but Justin's had a lot of different layers to his life in a lot of different ways. He had a business basically going out there selling satellite packages in a point where he had a big dip, lost some money, had to turn that around, had some family issues, got back online, went out there, start to try and wholesale and flip, went from flipping a couple houses to flipping a couple hundred houses to creating a group that is part of investors who flip and wholesale, and is taking that group from a couple people into hundreds of people who are now performing on high levels across the country. And actually, I know there's international flippers out there as well. So there's been a lot of layers. And so this is a perfect person to have on the show today to talk to you about how to find the good in everything you do and how to really just transcend and explode your business. So Justin, thanks for coming on. This is
awesome. Wow. Oh my goodness. I feel so good about myself now. You guys are amazing. This is the first, I have not been interviewed on a podcast in, I don't know how long it's been. It's been a very long time. You get focused, you get a lot going on. And so I've had to say no to a lot of people, but when you guys reached out, I'm like, heck yes. So
Yes.
Love it.
Hopefully any of the people I've told no to, I'm so sorry, but I just like these guys more. No, I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
I'm just gonna be like, guess what?
Yeah.
I got Justin on the podcast.
But that's actually awesome, right? So you just said something that's probably really key, right?
Mhm.
And you get locked into being so busy in life because every time something's out there to do, you go out there and do it. You say yes, or you fall into something.
Yep.
Everybody asks you for help. How do you say no? And how do you say no without regret, and then really just to propel what you're doing?
I mean, they say the word no is like the hardest word in the human language to say. So every morning when you wake up, you have to go in the mirror and say, no, 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 no. No, I'm just kidding. Not really.
It might.
But just like anything else, I mean, it takes practice. It's really hard. And I think it's just all about prioritizing. And I see so many people. I was actually talking to my son about this yesterday because he came home from school and he was behind on some assignments because when we went to Keystone, he still hasn't caught up and all these things. And I was like, hey, we got to get this. Let's get dialed in. We have the talent show tonight with your brother and sister. And we got to get these things done because I actually want him to really start making money. He's 13 and a half. And I want him to start doing some work with me, just little things, right? Just learning how to make money. I told him I said, you're getting cut off. I'm not paying for anything of yours anymore. No more surf lessons, no more surfboards, no more amusement park, nothing. I shouldn't tell you this. We just booked on Sunday. We just decided we're going to Hawaii.
What?
So for spring break. Yeah.
Awesome.
So in a few weeks we're going to Hawaii and we told the kids, hey, we'll pay for your flights but you guys are in the hotel, right? But you guys are paying for everything else. And so they have to earn it. And I said, you can either pull weeds and earn $8 an hour, or you can help me prospect for potential clients. And I'll give you $1 for because I know the numbers, right? I'll give you $1 for every person you message, and every person that signs up, I'll give you another $100, which little they know that's very minimal, but they can make 5 times as much money, right? So whoa, really? And then you can hire someone to pull weeds for you and do your chores and all that. Okay. So I went on a huge tangent. And I'm trying to remember where we even were. Oh, so the point was he needed to get focused because this kid's life is kind of I mean, don't get me wrong. He's a hard worker. He plays football and stuff, but it's surfing, school, football, homework, and then YouTube, right? And I'm like, dude, okay. If you're going to help me run my business and then eventually, because he doesn't, I mean, I hate to say it, he doesn't he doesn't want to go to college because he wants to actually make money and stuff, right? So I was like, you got to, his punishment is he has to go to college if he doesn't start making money before it's time for him to go to college, right? And so I said, you got to get dialed in here. But what happened is he had like an hour and a half to get home, do his chores, and then work on these assignments so he could then start working with me and making money. But the time came, his time to go, and he did not get the stuff done. And he said, but Dad, because my mom, she works for me, and as part of that, she comes and like helps clean our house and stuff. And so she was here, and I love my mom to death. She's the most amazing, giving, kind, awesome woman, but she will distract you like no other. Like you have to avoid her if you want to get anything done. And he said, but Dad, Grandma wanted me to help her plant the seeds of this and that. And I'm like, son, like that's amazing. And I love that you spent that time with your grandma, but you had a mission, you had a purpose, you had something that you had to do, you had to get done, and you didn't get it done. And there's good, better, best, right? Like sometimes we can let the good things distract us from what we have to get done and what we have to do. And I had this long conversation with him about in life. I said, if you do not plan your life by intent, other people will plan it for you. And it's so easy to get caught up in feeling like, oh, I'm doing all these good things, I'm helping people. And I love helping people, right? It's so important to me. And that's why it's so hard, because I have some of that in my mom who helps everybody all the time. But at the end of the day, if you want to have impact, if you want to have the most impact you possibly can, you have to do things with intent, right? You have to plan that out. And so for part of me in saying no, like I used to say yes to every podcast interview because that was part of my intention, was to be interviewed on all these podcasts, which there will come a point where that will be my intent. Like I'm going to we're working on a book and all these different things, and I'm going to get on every podcast I can. But there had to be a while where I had to say no to like the good things and like even really good things, because I love this type of stuff. I love it, so that I could focus on the few things that I knew I had to get done to really go where I wanted to go. So that was a real wow. We're going to be here a while if I take 10 minutes to answer every question you ask me, right?
No, but
it's great. Yeah.
Live and work and be intensive.
Yeah, with intention. And you literally have, like, you have to look at everything as a distraction. Look at everything as a distraction and be very, very, very careful about what distractions you allow to come in. So I'm not saying every once in a while, like I don't allow distraction to come in. Like when I had the idea of going to Hawaii, that sounds really fun, right? But you have to be very careful about the distractions you let in, even the good ones, because they may be distracting you from accomplishing something that's even more important for you at that time. So.
Yeah, I love that. So you got to be very careful, because it could be good, but good is not best. And so what's the best use of your time? And I feel that people get really comfortable, right? You get comfortable in what's good, but not necessarily what's best. How can you break that mold? Someone's sitting here saying, I think I'm doing good, but sometimes I'm not really aligned with what my family wants, or I'm not aligned with my business wants. And I just feel like things are going good, but is good enough?
Yeah. And that's a hard thing to answer. And if we all had a crystal ball, like we'd all be like billionaires, but then it wouldn't be fun, right? There'd be no challenge. There'd be no excitement. There wouldn't be any of that. So it's not a perfect science. I think it's knowing what are your goals. And when I say goals, not only like, hey, I want to make $1 million, I want to make $10 million, I want to make $100 million, whatever it might be. But what else is important to me? And I believe you literally can create your life like in the exact way that you want it. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to make $100 million and work 0 hours towards doing that, right? Like I'm talking realistic here. Shoot, I don't know. I can talk like there's like tactful and then there's like mindset and tact, but like literally like small things for me are like, if someone does ask me literally like, hey, can you do this? I get an email about this thing. I used to respond to people right away, like everyone right away. And I don't. Like number one, I'll wait a couple days to even tell them no. You know, I'll wait a couple days to tell them no, because if you tell them no right away, then they go back, oh, but this, but how can I do it later? And number two, like I push things off. So I'll let them know I can't do it now, but maybe reach out to me in a couple of weeks, then we can revisit it. And then the third thing is literally like most people, I just say, I just don't have the capacity right now. Reach out to me in a couple months, and they reach out again. Sometimes I don't have the capacity then either. So yeah, I know I didn't totally I don't know. I don't think I had a great answer for your question. That's
it
deep.
gives us the concept,
And
right?
the crazy
Yeah.
thing is, I don't know if you noticed, there's like it wasn't even like a dip in energy. You can tell that, Justin, you don't like saying no, because all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, I have to I have to do all these things. I have to say
I
no.
don't.
And
I don't.
you really want to say yes. And for our listeners out there, I know you want to say yes. I'm a yes person, but you
Yeah.
have to learn how to say no and to say yes to the right things.
Yes.
Right things that take you to the next level in your life.
Yeah. See, I like saying yes.
Yes.
I did just think of another mind hack though, because everything's like a mind hack, right? You have to realize, okay, I get it. We don't like to say no, but realize every time you're saying yes, you are saying no. Okay. So you have to know the things that you're saying no to. So for me, it's like, if I'm saying yes, let's assume I have a fixed amount of things that I have to get done. And then the excess time, I'm going to be coaching my son's football team. I'm going to be going to Hawaii with my family. I'm going to be spending time with my kids. I'm going to be maybe helping organizations like OUR or think whatever, right? So anytime I say yes to this thing, I'm saying no to these things. And you can come up with like 5 or 10. It might be your health. It might be your marriage. It might be date night. It might be whatever. Anytime I say yes to this, because it's not within my plan, I'm saying no to one of these things. And every once in a while, it might be okay. You know, if, for example, my parents, like if something happened with them and I need yes, I would be willing to say no to one of these things to go help them in that thing, depending what it is, because it could be something, but you have to realize you are saying no. And what is it that you're saying no to? And is this thing right here more important than saying no to one of these things? And it might be even a business opportunity, which is over here, right? A different thing you're saying no to. But is this business opportunity more powerful than one of these business opportunities that you're currently working on? Which happens. I mean, what's crazy, they say the rich get richer, right? And the reason is the more opportunity you create, the more opportunity comes to you. So there may be that thing where, who's like, anyway, someone like really big, like might say, hey, I want to interview for this big, huge thing. And I need you to come tomorrow. It's like, okay, I might have to say no to my level 10 meeting with my team or this or that, or this is one thing I was going to do for a day because Tony Robbins wants me to fly tomorrow because he wants to interview me for this thing, which is going to take my career to a whole nother level, right? Okay, like you can say yes to those things. Those are the things that you're waiting for. But I tell you what, the bigger you get, the more successful you get, the more people are going to want your time, right? So you have to get more and more disciplined. And I believe, there's this thing where people say like, figure out how much your time is currently worth based on what you're making and how many hours you work and all this stuff. And I think that's actually the opposite. I think your time becomes worth how much you value it at the beginning. So you have to value your time even more than what it looks like it's worth on paper if you're ever going to get there, or you'll never get there. You'll just stay stagnant with where you are. So you got to keep pushing that as well, to your time value. You have to keep pushing that.
Would you say that's one of the most important factors? Because people are listening today, maybe this is first exposure to Justin Williams, and they see everything you've accomplished now, but what they've missed is the journey, right? It's like that artist who, it's like that actor who wins an Oscar, but was sleeping at 38, but was sleeping on the couch for 15 years. And nobody sees that struggle. They see him winning the Oscar and he has all these successes. So for someone who's struggling right now and they're just trying to figure out how to get back up, do you think one of the core points is just finding your value and setting that forward, or what are some words of wisdom you would give?
Absolutely. I think it's finding your value. So to that question specifically, I would say to anyone, like, find out like the one thing, like if let's say you're like knocked down, you're struggling, you're not making any money, you haven't built systems, none of that, right? Like, what can you do starting tomorrow to have the biggest impact in your life? Like, find the one thing that you think you are best at in this life. And I don't know are we talking real estate here? Or is this for anybody?
Anybody.
It can be for anybody. Sure.
Okay.
A lot of real estate listeners, but ideally this transcends.
Yeah. So whether it's in real estate or marketing or anything, what's the one thing that you're really good at or you really enjoy that you can become really good at? And if you really focus on that and getting even better at that, or working for someone doing that thing, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I just got done interviewing 22 of our 8-figure flipping members, which means people who are currently doing 7 figures in their house flipping and or wholesaling business. And it was so interesting how many of them started out as doing like this one thing for someone else. For example, like Jeremiah Johnson. I mean, he was doing acquisitions for another company, and then later on he went and built his own company and has blown up to where he did like over 200 deals last year. But what is that one thing that you are good at, or the one skill? And don't be afraid to like team up with someone else. And Becca Shea was talking about how when she started, she was kind of afraid, and so she teamed up with someone. They did one deal together. They didn't get married. It wasn't like this big, huge, oh my goodness, we're going to be partners and have the commitment. No, they did one deal together. It helped take away the fear. They made $38,000 on that one deal. They split the profit, but then they realized, hey, what can we do on our own? Now that we have gotten over the fear, we're able to do this. So what's that one thing? And, you know, a lot of people say, oh, I got to go to college. I got to go to school and all this because like, I don't know how to start a business. I don't know what idea, or what if there's too much risk for that idea. And I'm like, dude, like literally, like you could take 90 days and learn how to run Facebook ads. Okay. And the thing is, like, college takes 4 to 8 years. If you spent 90 days learning how to run a Facebook ad, the truth is you can learn it in like 30, but I'm 90 days, like studying everything on Facebook ads. Like you are going to be so good at running Facebook ads. Like I would literally like hire you and pay you a 6-figure income to run my Facebook ads. Like if you were that good, and you can get that good if you really focus in on that one thing. And then from there, either you work for someone for 6 figures, or you do some freelancing and you build a 6-figure income, and then you build your own agency, right? Now you have a 7-figure business and a 8-figure business. It just, right? Like
Enough.
But get your foot in the door. Like as entrepreneurs, we think more is more. More is not more. Like one little tiny razor, like slim focus. But that wasn't what I just mentioned. I mean, I talked about like how to get a good 8-figure business, right? And you don't need to like have this genius idea, and it's all about just laser focusing on one thing. And then maybe later on you do have that idea, but now you understand like how to market it. You have a team, you have all these things going for you. And yeah, you can just keep growing from there.
Oh no, that's a perfect thought. I mean, you start with the one thing, the laser focus. I love that book, by the way, the one thing, laser focus, and let that grow. And wouldn't you agree that as you're letting it grow, not to try and reinvent the wheel?
Absolutely. I mean, that's probably in interviewing. I literally just got finished interviewing these 22, you know, house flipping and wholesaling. Like they're killing it, right?
They're amazing. And
without fail, it was 2 things. It was take action, execution, right? Like I think we all know that. We hear that time and time again. Take action, right? Yeah, do it. You got to execute. If you don't execute, if you're not committed, none of it matters. But then surrounding yourself with other people who are doing that thing. It's like the biggest no-brainer. Yeah, biggest cheat. Like it doesn't sound sexy. It's not like this big, huge secret, but like if you surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do, but at an even higher level, and find out exactly what they're doing, you model it. And I mean, I know Bill Allen always says like he has no original ideas. Like I don't totally believe that, but you don't have to have a lot of big original ideas. You can have little tiny ideas because we're all creative. And I know as entrepreneurs, we have a lot of ideas. You can have a lot of little tiny ideas within the idea, but until you have like a roadmap or an idea, what it looks like, it's hard to even take the action to then say, oh, what if we tried it this way? Then you can tweak it and adjust it and go back to your peers and mentors and see, oh, we did this wrong. And they'll give you that feedback. But it's by far the fastest way to shortcut any learning curve. I mean, and you can do that by trying to build your own network, which is part, you should do that as well. Or you can buy into a network. And I don't recommend, if you're brand new to business or anything, going out and spending $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a coaching or a mentor program. Like you've got to start at the right place that makes sense for you financially, where you're at. But after a while, I'm to the point now where I do not hesitate. Like we literally have mentors for everything we do. We have mentors for sales. We have mentors for marketing. We are paying someone $70,000 per year just to help us with our events. Right?
Yep.
And as you get around these good mentors, because there are some sleazeballs out there, right? But mentorship and coaching and masterminds, to me, is far and wide the best ROI you can have. You can't even measure it, right? But it's by far the best ROI. That's the fastest way to shortcut and get to your goals.
And for everybody listening, Justin knows what he's talking about. He's built this amazing program where you have your entry level, you hop on Facebook, you can just go in, ask questions. You have the next level where you pay just a little bit for just access to this entire coaching program. And then Justin also has a 7-figure and 8-figure flipping groups, which will take, don't forget 6-figure, 6, 7, and 8 flipping groups. That'll take your businesses to the next level. And it just goes to show you that surrounding yourself with those people that can take your businesses to that next level, that you can go to and say, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing right? And to be on your side, it's gold.
With so much opportunity out there, right? So what keeps people from finding success? I mean, you got 30% of Americans with less than 5,000 savings. You got 4.6 trillion in student debt. You got all these figures out there of people trying all these things, but just not finding their way. So with everything around us that is accessible, why don't people use it?
I think the number thing is perspective, right? We were hanging out with this couple the other day, and hope they don't ever listen to this. I love you if you are. Amazing people, like very successful. But like she was mentioning, I don't know how we got on this, but she was talking about how it's a man's world. And when I say very successful, he's like a dentist or something like that, right? I was like, that's so interesting, because she was a little frustrated that she wasn't really progressing as much as her husband, all these different things. She's like, it's a man's world. And I was like, I don't even know where to go with that. Like, what does that even mean, right? And I hear people, I hear white men say I'm disadvantaged because minorities get the advantage because they give them benefits, all these different things, right? And I hear minorities say, I've literally, we were good friends with a Hispanic woman who was very competent, spoke English perfect, like all these things, right? And she's like, I'm Mexican, I'm his, so I can't even, people don't look. I'm like, what are you talking about? I believe, I was at an event the other day and they're talking about your mess becomes your message. So whatever struggle you have, whatever challenge you have, Julia Childs, would say she would drop a chicken on the ground and she'd make a joke out of it. And that made it even that much better, right? I swear it could have been an absolute catastrophe, or someone could have been like, I failed, oh no, right? But it's all your perspective, right? If anything that I have, I sometimes wish I was the most disadvantaged person. To a degree, right? I don't want to live in a third world country without any education and all, because that's really tough. But anyone in the sound of my voice has the potential, because you have access to listen to this podcast. You get it enough to where you have the potential to do anything. Sky's the limit. Whatever you think your disadvantages in life, turn that around and make that your advantage. Make that why you're going to succeed. No one goes to a movie and is excited about the kid that was given millions of dollars and then has millions of dollars or doesn't, or we're motivated, right? What was that, Peely?
And buys a car. That's
yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. We're motivated by the rags to riches store. We're motivated by the underdog, right? I just watched Remember the Titans the other day with my son's football team, and it was just so inspired to see these people that were struggling and came together and made it work, right? So whatever it is that you're dealing with in life, turn that around and say, no, that's why I can do it. Just crazy, insane belief. You guys talked about our experience. I thought I was going to be a millionaire. I dropped out of college. I had a semester left and I had a full ride scholarship, right? But it's because I saw opportunity over here. Unfortunately, that millions of dollars that I thought I was going to make in that first year ended up to $120,000 of debt. We had to move in with a bunch of our employees. My son, we just had a baby boy. He was sleeping in the closet. In a way, I felt like a failure, but I didn't. I felt rich still. I felt wealthy because I knew it was possible. I knew that was just a hiccup. And it didn't matter. Nothing was going to stop me. As Andy McFarland says, I would not be denied. It did not matter, hell or an earth, earth. It didn't matter what got, I was going to keep this going. And then I got to real estate, and it took 7 months before I did my first deal. I wish I could say within a few weeks I did my first deal and made all this money and life changed forever. It didn't. And then after I always started to do a few deals, but then there was another time in 2010 where the market had changed. We had moved. There was some fraud from another company. We were paying all that off. And once again, we couldn't, I was struggling finding deals. We were struggling with lots of things. We could barely pay our bills. My wife was pregnant with her third child. Once again, I'm like, oh my gosh, have I failed? But no, I had to dig deeper. I had to believe, no, like this is all learning, right? People go to school for 4 or 8 years and they leave with a piece of paper and a bunch of debt. And they're like, the best day of my life. Hooray. But why? It's because they learned, right? So if you can learn like through life and experience, I mean, just that perspective is huge. Because I also said to myself, if we have a roof over our head, I could put food in my kids' stomachs, like that's fine. Other than that, like I know I'm successful. It didn't matter what was in my bank account. And so you fast forward and have that mindset, allows you just to keep going. Another thing I would say, like don't listen to other people, like unless they're your mentors, right? Unless they're the mentors that are doing the exact thing that you want to do. Like literally, it can't even be like someone who is kind of successful, but in a totally different industry or niche. Like it has to be in that exact thing you want to do, because everyone has opinions. Like they will give you an opinion and they all stink, right? When I dropped out of college, like
for a good cause, right? Because and it's hard because like maybe it's your parents or
yes,
even a girlfriend or a boyfriend or your close friends, but they're on a path where they say, I'm not dropping out of college. I only have a semester left. You're crazy. But how do you shut that off? I mean, how do you shut that off when people around you, and maybe it is for good cause. Maybe they think they're taking care of you, you know?
So I went to an event a couple weeks ago, Funnel Hacking Live with Russell Brunson. And there's this lady who, she was talking about, you have two hands and you got to know who's in what hand. So you have other people who are your mentors, your peers that are on the same journey as you. They're entrepreneurs. Like they're over here in this hand. And then you have your family and friends who are very important. You love them, you care about them. And you got to know, like going into a conversation or a relationship, which hand is in which. And you don't like mesh the two hands. Sure, there's friends and family that will see your example and will eventually want to follow that path. And that's awesome. But you should not, I mean, you need that. You need that stability. You don't always just want to be around crazy people like us, right? I mean, you need like you're loved, like they're all like, a lot of times we're saying, oh, they don't get it. Like, no, don't do that. Don't do that to them. Don't do that to yourself, right? It's just going to drive you crazy. Like if you're trying to convince them of this, like a lot of times what happens to people is the opposite happens, and they go, right? They get worn down, they get beat up. Like I just never thought to even ask, right? Like I believe that we teach people how to treat us. Okay. So when we think it's someone else, a lot of times we're like, oh, they don't support me. Oh man. Like, no, that's us. That's us reflecting that. Once again, I was at an event the other day and we were sitting down and someone was saying that, oh, I don't ever post this certain thing on Facebook, even though it would help me build my business, because I don't want my parents to see it. And I'm like, you're like 35 years old. You have 3 children and you're worried about your parents seeing something that you post on Facebook because it's going to benefit you. I was like, but it's not your parents' fault. Like you have taught them that, like in our family dynamic, I mean, our parents, like both of them are very supportive, but part of that is if I would have asked like my parents, my wife's parents, hey, what do you guys think about this? Like, should I drop out? Like, I guarantee you everyone had told me no, but they had no choice to support me because, oh, that's just Justin. Like they always say, oh, it's just Justin, right? He's going to do what he's going to do and it doesn't matter. Yeah. Right? Like that's the way you got to think. And then they have a choice to either like, if they're going to like disown you, like that's weird. Like that's stupid. Right? I don't think that would really happen. Like if it does, and that's on them. Right? So I shouldn't even gone there. Right? Cause I've never seen that happen. I don't think it's really what happens. We see it all the time. Like
it's worth it. Right? Cause ideally sometimes people think that the worst is going to happen when in fact the worst really rarely ever happens.
Yes.
It's usually
yeah. And let's not talk about family. Let's talk about friends. Like, quite frankly, I don't want to be friends with someone who is going to like, I'll still be your friend if you're not into all the things I'm into. But if you're going to like hate me or disown me for following my dreams or talk smack about me or be like, see, told you so, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't want to be around you, tell you the truth. So forget about that. And maybe there's some family members that you just spend less time with. I don't know. But you gotta just, I don't know. You can't ask their permission. You can't ask them what they think because they mean well, but they just don't know. And it's all you. Like if there's anyone that you think is holding you back, look in the mirror because it's really you. So
I just need to say this. I will not be denied I love that. I love that.
Yes.
I will not be denied. And I'm just gonna
So I literally, all of my, and I may need to go change them all after this, but all of my passwords for everything are things like that, right? I will not be denied. And I'm gonna have to change this one later. Like when it was like, I heard Tony Robbins talking about this, like, I am unstoppable. Whenever doubt like comes into my mind, I get, because it all happens. Like I will literally be in my car, like, I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. I am unstoppable. And like, or I'll say in my head if I'm around people, and I just get like, I'm like, okay, keep going. I'm gonna keep going. Like nothing's gonna stop me. Or sometimes their passwords like, you know, make whatever 20 million in 2019 or something like that.
Passwords.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that.
I'm glad this isn't live.
Yeah, right. And you
Because now I need to go like change them all.
Right. Yeah, but like what you said, it's huge. Because sometimes, you know, when you're feeling down, you get in that point where it even takes you further. You go lie down and put you in a weak position, or you don't do things that set you within power, you know, sitting up and putting it back in there. And if people could just take that one step and remember to do that one thing, it's going to, I guess, shorten that curve, right? Shorten that curve where they give up, or, you know, they have that moment of doubt that ends up lasting 2 days. Because ultimately, the time is what you need. The time is what you can't get back. The time is what you got to use the most of here. And if you can use the most in the positive light and just say, I cannot be denied constantly,
Well,
think about how quickly that, you know, take out, you get down 3 days every 2 weeks over a year. You know, that's 2 months there, 3 months you're missing out of a year of just wasting time.
and it's all about self-empowerment, like Justin said. It's all about taking a moment and telling yourself you're unstoppable, telling yourself that it doesn't matter what sex I am, what gender I am, what the color of my skin is, what the color of my hair is. I'm a woman that is everything in this world. I just did ancestry.com. So I like anybody out there, you have no excuse, because I am everything, and I can do everything, and I can be anything. So can you. Everybody out there, so can you. You are unstoppable. You have to tell yourself that, though, and you have to believe it.
Yep.
So I have one more direction I want to go. I want to be respectful of your time, but okay. So now we have the drive, we have the destination. How do we find the patience to let what we're doing happen, instead of just saying, well, you know, I've done this for a week and I'm not a millionaire, I give up. You know, like how do you find that patience that okay, I'm not going to pivot every 2 weeks, or I'm not going to jump to, you know, if it's real estate, I'm not going to do, you know, wholesaling and then tax liens and then flipping and then, you know, buy and hold just because it's not working. And I just haven't had the patience.
Yeah.
Find that patience and have that commitment.
I think a big part of it, we talked about surrounding yourself with the other people. Because if you see other people that are doing that, like it's going to help keep you from getting like shiny object syndrome. One of the things why was hard for me about going to like a bunch of different real estate investment meetings was 1 week they're talking about one thing, and the next somewhere else they're talking about a different thing, and all these different philosophies. It's like, right? And that's why, like in our group, we focus on, and depending on what group you're in, like on one thing, right? How to create a scalable house flipping and or wholesaling business, like to get you to 7 figures. Like that's it. It's super hard. It's super hard just to focus on that one thing. But just, I mean, Andy McFarland says all the time, like what one man can do, another man can do. So find those people, find those mentors, find them, and focus on that one thing, and know that whatever challenges you have in that one thing you're doing, where the grass looks greener over here, there's just as many challenges, but you haven't yet found out what they are, right? So that's what I was saying. But we talked about focus and then consistent and persistent actions over a long period of time. Like just keep going. And the thing is, yeah, you got to be focusing on the right things. Once again, that's the people, like learning, like making sure you know what you're doing, like competency, like that's an important part of it. Like you got to learn. But we're in the information age. Like there's so much opportunity to learn. I mean, podcasts like this, like listen to them, right? But then eventually niche down, like find out what is that thing I really want to focus in on. And then go deeper there, and then surround yourself with those people. Like if you got to pay them, depending on your situation, right? But just go deep. That focus is huge. Community is huge. Consistent, persistent. Like anything. Like I see it all the time. Like people want to know like how I've stayed like somewhat fit over the years. it's just like not a week goes by that I'm not doing something. I'm not like this crazy gym rat or anything, but I'm consistent and I'm persistent. And if I miss a couple days, like I get back to it. Right. I just see people all the time. They're like, yeah, I'm going to do this. I get concerned about like, you have people who are just like super negative and pessimistic, and those people like are never going to stand a chance. And then you almost have people who are, I'm just going to say like over optimistic, right? And they've never done anything with like, oh, I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. I'm going to do this. Ah! You could see it, you feel it. And I'm like, oh, that poor soul, like they're going to crash and burn.
Yep.
Because you can't maintain that, right? So I almost feel like that's the most important thing. Like every day, I just assumed everyone who was an entrepreneur like woke up and they just got after it, because that's what I've always done, right? I mean, since I wake, like I have this fire burning in my chest that sometimes keeps me from sleeping, and I wake up and I can't wait for Monday. I love spending time with my family on Sunday, but it's like I get like anxious because I'm like ready to get after it. And I don't know, like if you don't have that drive, like you can get it, but you gotta have it. I don't know, maybe you don't gotta have it. I feel like you gotta have it. And if you occasionally you don't have it, what were you pointing at, Jason? I'm sorry, keep going.
He has it.
Yeah.
Can't sleep.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's like if you don't, like occasionally I feel like I don't have it. I'm like I go listen to a podcast or something like that. But I don't know. Like you got to have that, and then you got to channel that, and you got to be laser focused. And if you're not, you surround yourself with other people who help you be focused, right? Like I know that I'm a visionary. I know that I have 100 ideas a day. So I surround myself with other people who help keep me in line. And they're like, that's a good idea. Like 10 years from now, I'm like, oh shoot. Like what I think like Tony Robbins or Bill Gates, I'm not sure who said it, but he said that we usually overestimate what we can accomplish in a year and underestimate what we can accomplish in like 5 or 10 years. And I think because of that, people get a little discouraged. They think they're going to go make millions within, like, it kind of drives me crazy. All these gurus will say like, in 30 days, like business is going to take off and all this stuff. And I'm like, some people can get their first deal in 30 days, but most people don't. Most people, but you gotta shoot for that, but then realize like it might take 90 days and that's okay. It took me 7 months. And now later on, I'm done close to 1,000 and helped hundreds of people do hundreds of deals, right? Like you just gotta keep going and knowing that it's not going to happen overnight, but it is exponential. So the amount of effort that it took you to do your first deal is probably a similar amount of effort, but with different things, with systems and processes and people, that will take you to do your next 10. And then what takes you the effort to do 10, the same amount of effort and work will take you to do your next 100, to make your first million, then their next 10 million and your next 100. Like literally, like I have no doubt that within the next few years, like I'll be making $100 million a year. And I wouldn't have believed that when I was making like a few bucks an hour, right? But it's easy to see when you're somewhere, it's exponential. It's not just, okay, now I'm going to make another 100 grand, right? That'd be boring at this point. So just recognizing that. And then for me, I know I'm kind of going on a tangent. This is different from what you're asking, but for me now, it's not about money anymore. Although I like numbers. So it is about money because I know money could be impact, but it really is truly the impact. What kind of changes can you do in the world, right? And that has to do with people in their lives, like in our community, but then also beyond that. Like literally, like I want to stop slavery. I want to be a part of stopping slavery, I should say, right? And you guys, by trafficking and all that, right? Just what are the big problems? Yeah, you look at people like Elon Musk. I mean, it's clear to him. It's clearly that to him, it's not just about making money. Like he wants to change the world. And for me, I'm not a big, like people talk about leaving your legacy and stuff. I don't know. I think it's part of my personality. Like I don't really need like everyone in the world to like remember me and have like a statue of me anywhere. I just, if I can have impact though, I want to do that. I would like to say it's not for me. Maybe it is a little bit, but I don't think it is. But I just believe omission, right? The biggest sin you can, not the biggest sin you can commit, omission, right? It's like if you're not doing what you are capable of, I hear people all the time like, oh, if I make money, it's going to make me a bad person, all these things. I'm like, no, if you don't make money, like you are obligated to make money. You are obligated to not just make money, but have impact. And at first it starts with making money so you can take care of your family and not worry about finances ever. And then after that, like, make the world a better place. Like, if we all do that together, like, we'll get rid of starvation. There will be no human trafficking. There will be none of these major world problems. Like, we literally can solve together as we work together on these things. And if everyone thinks like that and has, like I said, the perspective that, yeah, I can do anything. I'm not a yeah-butter. I'm not going to think of all the reasons why I can't do things. I'm going to think of how I can do them, how I can make things better. I'm going to make my life better things for me and my family, and then the world beyond that. And anyway.
Incredible. Justin, this has been
Amazing.
Hugely inspirational, transformational, everything. For people that were listening, we heard you talk about the human trafficking. What's the group that you're working with?
OUR, Operation Underground Railroad. OUR Rescue, like our rescue, Operation Underground Railroad. Yeah, it's an incredible, Tim Ballard, the founder, they literally go out and they save kids that are being trafficked, that are sex slaves essentially, and they rescue these kids, and we've really gotten behind that, and it's incredible. And the thing is, not only the money that can be raised, but the ripple effect through, as you stop these guys and they realize, oh, this is not a very good quote unquote business proposition. They like the risk of getting, put away, and that's when this problem will stop. I mean, we think slavery has been abolished, like it, in a way it has, and I don't mean any disrespect. That's amazing, everything that's happened in one aspect of that, but it still exists today, and I'm determined to do my part and what I can to help with that. So
awesome. Thank you,
Justin. Thank you so much for coming on, as always. Jason, I thank you so much for everything you've given us. We are both part of his 7-figure flipping group, and he has given us permission to succeed. He is one of those high-level people that you want to get in contact with, that you want to take your business to the next level. So again, thank you so much, Justin.
And what's the best place for people to go to today, find more about you?
It just depends what you're looking for, but House Flipping HQ is kind of where my podcast is, and our website, our main website. If you're a higher level investor who's doing 6 figures and you want to get to 7, and you're interested in talking about the 7-figure flipping program, you can go to 7figureflipping.com to find out more about that and fill an application.
Awesome.
Yeah, those are the main things. So.
Amazing. Justin, thanks. This is awesome.
Awesome. Thank you guys. My pleasure, as always.
So this is the Real Estate Investing Foundation podcast with Jason and Peely. Thank you again so much, Justin Williams. And thank you to you all for listening. We are so very grateful. Have a good day. Bye now.
Thanks for tuning into the REI Foundation podcast. Check back next time for more awesome tips and strategies to launch your new you in real estate.